Okay. Like I promised. There's a hoe in the bottom of the sea. There's a hoe in the bottom of the sea. There's a hoe, there's a hoe. Thank you. There's a hoe in the bottom of the sea.
What's her name?
What is her name? And we are live from my bedroom on location. And we're at an open mic tonight. And basically, if you know the criteria of live from my bedroom on location is if I would sleep there. And clearly, I have slept here. This is a place where I feel very comfortable for years and years. You can just chime in whenever you want there, Earl.
Hopefully it wasn't during a show.
No, usually it was, sadly. But in the early days, it was me learning my hand stakes in marketing and getting my chops and everything. But this was the start for me to really fall in love with the community of comedy, not comedy itself. This did make comedy better for me here at, well, let's let you know that we're 113 steps from Bloor. If you didn't know, that would be how I would tell people where we were. Everyone was driving, and I'm telling them how many steps from Bloor. And this is how I would promote.
That doesn't help if you don't have a direction.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you could go north, but at church is a problem. So at Bloor, if you were to walk 113 steps south of Bloor, because north is getting you nowhere fast. Do you know where you go if you go south of Bloor on church?
You get, if you go north?
If you go north.
You get Canadian Tire.
You get Canadian Tire. And the comedy's never really all that good at Canadian Tire. I find, unless
sometimes it is.
Yeah, I was thinking on Fridays it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Fridays.
Sometimes it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's all about the nuts and bolts and.
I saw a guy walk up to the counter and he said something exactly this way. He said he asked a question. He said, "Where do you hide your cocking?" Which ended up being in my act. Because he did say it that way.
That's interesting. Where'd you hide your cocking? And it sounded like you were going to say it was going to be in my ascot. Like I thought you were getting closer to another word there.
No.
It was getting closer though. Where you hide? And so it got into my ass.
My act.
No, I know, but this is what I heard coming. I forget about that. So you keep hearing the voice of another person live from my bedroom on location. It's Spirits Bar and Grill, where comedy has been flowing. For Earl the Squirrel, at least for like 17 and a half years.
That was coming on 18.
18, yeah, 18, which in my life is high. I love to get high.
I think I missed 2 of them.
Yeah, no, there wasn't a sound person here for the first.
No, I missed 2 in the middle.
What do you mean you missed 2 in the middle?
Yeah.
Were we in the?
Somebody took over for me.
Did you give him the equipment? Did you lend
No,
him
he
your
had his
equipment?
own stuff.
He had his own stuff. You have a name? Do you want to promote this kid? No.
It was Phil Eskin. He's no kid.
I don't even know what
He's
that
way older than me.
Age? I don't think age is the the comma of when you can call somebody a kid. But
Well,
so he was in the business forever and a half.
He's more mature than me. Which ain't saying much.
Right. I'm not really too sure why you're even having that conversation. That's very funny though. I don't know this gentleman. I don't know if he's mature or not. But it's just funny that you're calling out to it. That there is there's a guy out there who's more mature than you, who's mixing
He's got
sound.
style. He's got flair.
And that's Earl, and I know Earl is Earl the Squirrel. And everyone I have on this on the show, I don't give you last names, so it seems everyone seems to have a
Stage name?
Well, something like that. But yes, I clearly don't know you as anything other than Earl the Squirrel. This is how you actually. That's how you advertised yourself from stage. You didn't want anyone to call you anything else other than Earl the Squirrel.
But there was a reason for that. Because everybody kept getting my last name wrong.
It's French. It looks French. Let me just throw that out there. It looks French. Doesn't have to be French, but it's just it's French.
Mm-hmm.
Are you French?
Yeah. Sort of.
Well, we're in Canada, so we're all sort of French.
It's sort of French from New Brunswick.
What kind of French is that? Is it like a Métis?
Franglish.
We're making up words here at Spirits Bar and Grill, 113 steps.
No, that's an actual thing.
Oh, is it? I didn't know. I got to look to my Wikipedia to find that out for me. So
It's French and English mixed up.
that's fantastic. I'm sorry, you're wearing a Ghostbusters emblem. That's like big right now. It's coming back. They're doing like a redo.
It's in the theater.
For like the 30th year.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, right? 30 years Ghostbusters. Now this room was up and running for almost 20 years now. It's going to be going on. It'll be 20 in in February 2015.
If you say so.
What was 90? I guess I was the only one in the room. Clearly, it was a good night for Spirits Bar and Grill. It was
That
me
explains why you fell asleep here, because you probably fell asleep during one of your jokes.
during my own show. Yeah, no.
During one of your jokes.
During the joke, I'm falling asleep. That's always a bad sign for the comedian, the entertainer, and the room. I don't see that ever being a positive. Falling asleep is never a plus.
I fell asleep reading a story once.
No, that's what you want to do. That's why you read the story. And you were
No, to my kids, but I was doing it in an impression.
Oh, well, that's not good. Oh, you were doing it in an impression and fell asleep like at home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on the couch reading a story to my kids,
Yeah.
and it was a
Don't do that while you're driving
It was
the car.
a Sesame Street book,
Okay.
and I was doing impressions of Grover and Elmo, and I started falling asleep while I was doing the Grover, because I knew the book and I didn't have to really read it, so I just started fading off. And then my wife yelled at me, "Earl, you're falling asleep."
Early you're falling
The
asleep.
kids thought it was hilarious.
That you were falling asleep as a
Yeah.
cartoon character. Or a Muppet.
And still in character.
Right. Right. Earl the Squirrel. Earl the Squirrel. That is how you promoted yourself. People assumed my name wasn't my real name, Adam Powell. It sounded like it was
Yeah.
it sounded like a made-up name already, so I didn't have to go out of my way to refabricate what they already thought was fabricated.
And Adamant was taken.
Yeah, it was taken. It was taken in music and also as a superhero. You couldn't be Adam nothing. Yeah, it was all kind of taken away from me. But that's not what we're here for. We're here
No.
to be on location, live from
Did
my
we-
bedroom.
Did we lose track again?
We're not on track, which is really nice. But they have a sweet menu. They just started a new menu here at Spirits Bar and Grill. I'm not just trying to sidestep here, but I ordered the Mediterranean, and it's in the middle leaflet, and it said that their new fall menu, which I'm excited since the fall is coming. Fall is coming. It came in June this year. Did you notice? Did you notice that there was no summer?
I thought it came earlier than that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But that's what you get here in Canada. And this is a rain or shine show. We are covered, and we are going to other shows that are outside. We're going to some outside comedy shows as well for On Location. And that is not rain or shine. They go inside when it's raining.
Because comics are made out of salt.
Well, yeah, saltpeter. Yeah, it's explosive because when they bomb, it goes. But we're here to really dig deep into the heart of open mics, because this is a free show. The people that are here, that come in for comedy, sometimes don't know they're here for the comedy. Like, that would be how I would tell you, like, the audience at the beginning, because you say 9-ish, you try to start the show at 9, but you can clearly see people are here from across the street that aren't here for the show. There's that crossover for the free show of comedy and the guy who's just trying to finish his meal.
I would say 85% are here because of the show. You get stragglers that are surprised, but other than that, most people realize
no, but from
there's a
stage,
show.
yeah, but from stage, the 15% that are clearly being punked. Somehow, they came in for a knish. They came in for some. They came for some falafel, because that's what you do. And I don't know where the lights got dim. A voice comes on the PA. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? And the music.
Well, not
starts
quite,
out. No, I
but-
don't know. But hopefully we're gonna hear that tonight. That's what's gonna be a part of the day.
Mhm.
Not here, but if you
But it
come
doesn't
out,
sound like a stripper voice when I do it.
stripper voice. Strippers. By the way, you're dating some crazy strippers if that's their voice. Let me just throw that out there. If that's the stripper voice in your
No,
repertoire,
I mean when you're
stripper
introducing
voice.
strippers.
Oh, the stripper voice announcer. Yeah, that's not as funny. But having a stripper voice like that, like, okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tasha to the stage, and she gets there, and it's all, hey, how you doing? That's great. Put some money in my pants.
And that was your vagina talking.
That would have been. You get the. I do like some talking vagina if I had a choice. So my kids are in the room. They're 10 years old. They're 7 years old. They're 5 years old. And you've just said the vag.
Oh,
People
okay.
are calling it the vag now.
Really?
Well, yeah, I've heard vag. You know, I've heard.
It's a generation gap.
It is a gap, and it is. It is, right, kids? And we play it like they're in the room. You should play it like they're in the room and explain everything that comes out of your mouth. That's what I'm doing. So yes, sure. That's, you got the inner and the outer, and then you got the thing that looks like it's talking. Good job. Bring it around for the kids to have a visual on the theater of the mind. Here, live, from my bedroom, on location at Spirits Bar and Grill. I'm a big fan of Spirits Bar and Grill. After I was here and I was at another club, I used to come out here all the time. I wasn't allowed to ever tell people that they were here. Like, they advertise on Facebook now, and it gives their names. Like, in general, like, if anybody who was a name wanted to perform on the stage, they didn't want me to ever use their names, to use their name as promotional value. They came out to utilize the stage because, as you said, 85% of the people
Some
here...
of them got in trouble for using their names.
Well, this is what I mean. So, and this is back in the day. This is 20 years ago, like I'm saying. So, but now it looks like I see names all the time for the last 2 years, for sure, since Cal Post, who is the house MC now, taking over for Joanna Downey, full time, full time, and he's keeping it alive. He's keeping the tradition clean and clear, and it still takes about 2.5 months to get on the stage if this is the open mic area.
3 to 6.
3 to 6 months now. See what happened when you waited that extra 5 seconds? 3 to 6 seconds. Oh, wow. So I'm pretty impressed of the length of this location, how long it's come, but the drive of the people that came out to support, even myself, and you. It seems to be a home away from home.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about it that keeps people coming back, and there's people here that
Something about it that keeps me coming back.
Well, yeah, but you got the equipment to make the sound, because that other guy is clearly too mature for this place. That's a callback.
Too expensive.
It's too oh yeah, I don't want to hear that. I clearly don't want to hear that. What I want to hear is that comedy is alive and well, and the people that are doing it are healthy and happy, and they're not doing it coming from a place of negativity, or they're coming from a place.
Can't say that.
No, you can't. But I would love to be able to say that. What I
So would
feel.
they.
What I feel about comedians when you get a good one, there's a fine line between therapy and comedy, and then you get this other beat where you get a little it's philosophy. It's the stand-up philosophy, like of recent. I don't know, people kind of missing. A well-read comedian is a philosopher. He's capable of taking a really sensitive topic and gleaning what you need to learn from it and putting it in a story, a parable that makes you laugh and learn. And that seems to be when you're doing it right. When you're doing it right. And people come out here to learn how to do it right. And I've seen some new faces come out here and they're knocking it out of the park, doing I would call it storytelling. Is that like a new thing that it's almost Bill Cosby-esque storytelling? Like there's not set up punchline, tag, callback. It's not like a formula. I used to sing
that's
songs.
Nothing new.
No, I know, but it seems to be like everyone seems to be creating. It's about getting the character down, right? Having your character, working the material, and making it all feel like it's working. That it's making.
Like you knew you were going to be here.
Yeah, kind of. All the things that you said, even though you've said it 100 times, you're going to make it feel like you've just said it for the first time.
Mm.
This is the stage of gold. How it turns out to be that. So here specifically. There is no, what do you call it? They did very well with it. There's no roof. There's nobody feeling like they're saying, you can't say that here. There's no restrictions or limitations.
Well, the audience will let you know pretty fast.
Well, that's true.
Depending on the audience.
Right. Well, if you bring the audience, and the audience is here for this show, then that's, it's like, it's adding fuel to the fire. It becomes a really interesting, an interesting evening right across the board. The nights where you see people fighting, where they're actually fighting the ending, well, because in general, an MC usually helps at the end of the night to close up people paying and try to get out of their show, where a headliner, at only 5 or 6 minutes within their act, are the checks being passed out normally, because it's a club, right? Mm-hmm. And so at that moment, he has his 12 jokes, his 15 minutes of material that help him deal with people clearly not paying attention. And it's very hard to tell a joke. I was singing songs. I would use that moment to sing songs. I would sing 2 songs consecutively when the checks came out. There was no reason to do anything else, because if I watched them paying the checks while I'm here up on stage, I would lose my nut. I don't know how to be calm and cool and be the performer. In Vegas, is what they called me was a talking buffet. That's when you know you've hit it big. So what about you in your career of now? You're definitely behind the scenes 100%. Are you out there still banging it out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting into writing my old man material.
Right, because you've crossed into.
I've crossed over the 40 line a while back there, and tripped over it really, but you know.
Well, I'm telling people I'm 52, and they're not wincing. No one's wincing at that. I say 52, they go, oh. And the reason, of course, is so you can look at me and go, you look good for your age. I'm not reaching for a compliment. It is a compliment, because holy crap, 52, what the hell? So
no
50,
comment.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, sir. So you go for 52, which then, of course, pays back in the, when you're, like when you're trying to hustle money from people. You got the short game and the long game. It's a long game, so that when I'm 70 years old, when I'm telling people I'm 70 years old, he is spry for a 70-year-old. I'll get applause breaks just for standing up. That's the goal, anyways. I was assuming that's what George Burns did. But I don't know.
I got a bit of shock telling somebody I was 51 the other day.
That's kind of crazy, right? It's a good number.
And no, it wasn't me. So.
No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me being shocked.
Oh, I see. Nice. That seems to be how you put it down. So, out of the long list of nights that have taken off here, because for me, you are the guy who waited after every show and talked to all the young comedians even 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to have a certain flair for what you like to do is share. You would share what you felt happened at that time, and the problem is that most people have to do everything, muster up every piece of energy that they had to get up on that stage. So your critique is like a brick for some people, not a lot of them, but some people, because it took everything they had to muster to get up there, and you're like, you know what you did wrong? And that guy just wants to hit you with a brick. But the other 99 or the other 95,
I think most people are happy that
95. It's
or
interesting. More. Well, 95. Well, now it's different. I'm talking about 20 years ago. 20 years ago,
yeah.
the same advice was
a little more
offered.
blunt, yeah. A little more blunt back in the day.
Perhaps. We all change. We all mellow. We all do things with age. And but after the show, if you were on that show and Earl's in earshot, he's going to tell you what he thought happened on that show.
Sometimes during the show.
Well, that's actually its own show.
I remember back in the day, if you were sucking the air out of the room, we wanted you off stage. A lot of times, if you're just really so crass that everyone was going to leave,
right,
and we got you off stage, one way or another.
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about, like, we started off, because you introduce people from stage at the back here. You have your own sweet microphone, as I called it, from the same genre, as you said, as David Letterman.
Yep.
But your stand is all excited for everybody.
Circa
It's a little too-
1929.
It's a little too heavy on the handle. A little too much shaft going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would agree. Not a lot of guys get into a room going, there's way too much shaft there. You hardly ever hear that. Another thing you hardly ever hear, I've heard people say that guy's really white, and I've heard people say that guy's really black, but I've never heard anyone ever say that guy's really Chinese. Okay, the eyebrow went up. By the way, it's theater of the mind. So if you don't know, he has a pair of eyebrows that would take you to another place. I think that's one of his first impressions that I would have said that no one on the planet was doing. The Muppets, every second person's thrown at a Muppet.
I've only ever seen one other guy do it.
Do what? The eyebrows?
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do the eyebrows. That's kind of why I'm pretty happy to qualify the eyebrows.
He didn't do it very well, but he tried.
No, hold on. But did he set it up the same way?
No.
No,
It was just a...
No, see, yours was the wave by a paraplegic. Eyebrows work in that situation, folks. Listen, it's fantastic. You know,
Well,
it's
I
a
had
good
the
joke.
ability of doing the wave with my eyebrows, and I had to do something with it.
Yeah, that's
So I
cool.
tried, okay, well, who would do that and why? So I said, originally I said, it was the most talented quadriplegic in the world doing the wave at a baseball game, which people still balked at, even though I said he was talented. I mean,
Yeah, but see, the word balk is funny because that's what you call a guy that can't throw the ball. So they still balked at it because the guy couldn't move his arms. No? Anyway, I'm a big fan of impressions. I like impressions. I think if it wasn't for people not pushing me, but basically saying, you might want to do the music, because they were comparing me to really fantastic comedians, which is great. I'm glad that they compared me to really fantastic comedians, but I wasn't there yet. I was taking little tiny baby steps trying to find my own voice, and it became too much too quick, and
did
that's
you
how
ever
that goes.
find it?
Yeah, I think I did.
I haven't found mine yet.
No, I found mine.
Still working on it.
It's not as angry as I thought it was. It's more passion. It just looks like anger. It has the same stench. Anger and passion. When someone's really passionate about something, or they're trying to convince you differently, it's the same as anger if you stepped on their foot. It looks exactly the same. Come on, you really don't need that to happen. Get shoes. It's like, oh, you're not angry that you stepped on my foot. You're more passionate that I should get shoes that don't hurt my feet.
Yeah.
It's a take.
For me, it was just, it wasn't anger. It was just trying to show people that I'm concerned. Like, outwardly,
Worried.
slightly angry, more concerned, and just, or fed up. But not like outright screaming angry, like a rant.
Right. And have you always done the sound here? Like since you walked in the door, was that part of your gig? You pitched
Except for those 2 years, yeah.
except for those 2 years. And then,
2 or 3, I can't remember.
Right.
Probably 2.
And this stage was one of your once in a whiles? Is this every
Yeah.
6 months? you call as well as everybody
Whether they
else?
wanted to or not.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when's the next time we get to see your face here?
I don't know.
Well, I want to know. I want to know. And I'm sure the people who I'm going to re-air and broadcast this with, they're going to want to know too, which would give me a reason to re-air this. Because then I would say, oh, he's going to be performing tonight. This is his pre-cast to the broadcast. And I'm very happy to be a part of that from now until you die.
Well, I want to work some things out on smaller stage. Die in anonymity, then
Right. And what
Than in
and
front
what
of a
in your
giant
world,
crowd.
in Toronto, would be then the smaller stage of the open mic circuit? If you had to choose.
Imperial, Einstein's, places where sometimes they pay attention. And well, actually, Imperial, they do pay attention. Sometimes a little too much.
Okay.
But then
So Einstein's has been around.
Einstein's, they don't always pay attention.
Right. But it's like it has a stage. I was there once. I performed at Einstein's once, and it was
Did that show for 8 years.
it was a fight. The whole show was you had to fight for your time to be seen and
Sometimes,
heard.
not always.
No, well,
In the very, very beginning,
That's when I'm talking.
Yes.
I'm talking about the beginnings. I'm actually only talking about the beginnings of spirits and the beginnings of anything. And that's why I'm reaching out to you and to others to talk about the todays. Because when I said, the big names that used to come out here for me would have been things like, Sean Majumder and Kenny Robinson. These are the people that I always wanted to just work with because they were just funny. Mm-hmm. And I was happy when they were around because they made me feel like I'm in the right business because they're doing it for the same reasons, the truthiness, as I'm stealing from Colbert, but that's kind of what they were always going for. Silly and truthful. It sells to me. And that's what I was pitching, and then you said, actually, it was just recent, actually, in the last 3 months, because that's when this came through, and I made the speech to you. I said, look, these are the names of the people that I would tell you that these are the most famous of the people that came out to support the night here. Except for the actors, like not people in the crowd, but people who actually performed on stage. We had a lot of famous people come out to watch the show. That was always weird. And they were always intoxicated. Always. Like they clearly didn't know they were at church in Bloor.
that's happened a lot.
Yeah,
over the
it
years.
happens a lot here. It happens a lot. And so who would then be one of your favorites if we have to walk down that path?
Well,
Who came
Robin
out here?
Williams.
Robin
came here.
Williams came here. Yeah, and he did some time on stage?
He did some time on stage.
Yeah, and he did some time on stage. Yeah, and so who would then be one of your favorites if we have to walk down that path? Well,
Rob Williams. Yes. He did 3 sets. He was only actually scheduled for 2.
He did 3 sets and scheduled for 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he was
3 separate weeks.
3 separate. Oh, I see. I see. He came.
Not the same day.
No, not the same day. That would be weird since there's only one show here at
Yeah.
Spirits Bar and Grill, which starts around 9 o'clock.
9:15.
9:15. I like 9-ish. Then we can go with the
Yes.
9-ish.
Yes.
So 9-ish. Come here, get your beverage, sit down, get something to eat, be nice to the servers, and look forward to get prepared for a show. Okay, and that moment we had Robin Williams. He he came out 3 times to Spirits Bar and Grill over
Yeah.
the course of the 16 years that you were involved. Because did he show up when you weren't here during those 2 years?
He came when I was here. Yeah.
No. I mean, during the 16 years he came, right? Because you said 18.
First 13.
18 is what we're going for, and then for 2 years you weren't here.
Yeah.
So all 3 of his visits you were here,
Yeah.
and you saw. So what you trying to? What's the story about the third?
Well, the third one,
impromptu-
it was Joanna Downey's birthday, and she had booked her own quote unquote guests for the show, which are all her friends. And even though he was a new friend to her, he just wasn't one of her one of her longest friends. And so she said, no, you're not going to have a set. The show's packed and booked. Had people like Wilmot and Simon Rakoff, and she wasn't having any of it. But because he liked her so much, and he insisted, he basically ran up the middle of the aisle shouting, which then got the audience extra excited, and there was no turning back once he did that. And what he wanted to do is, instead of doing a set, he rapped a birthday song for her.
You didn't have the recording device for that.
No, I don't know if that. I think it was recorded though.
Yeah?
Somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, I like to get that up on YouTube.
On a DVD or something.
I clearly like to get that up on a.
Because it was her birthday. I'm pretty sure it got recorded.
Right.
We'd have to ask Cal about that one.
Yeah, I think it'll be one on my list of things to
And
ask for.
what I liked about it the most is someone tried heckling in the middle of his song, and he managed to work it into the song. That's how talented he was. That somebody heckled him right in the front row, like right in the front seat, and he trounced them in the song, and then kept going.
Yeah, his
He didn't hog.
his brain.
He didn't have to hog. It took him 5-10 minutes to get out of the front half of the room. So he knew just go up, do your song quick, and then get the hell off the stage.
That's fantastic. So you of course you were there that night. You have a picture? Is that night? No, there's a picture of you.
That was
on your Facebook. On
yeah.
your Facebook,
It's
Earl.
I don't think it was that night. I think it was the one previous.
Okay. All right. And is that a most memorable? No, that's your favorite. That's your favorite person that came out. You have a most memorable moment here out at the Spirits Bar and Grill that you're like, oh man, you should have been here for that, or that would have been it.
For me, but it's only because of what I do. I stepped into one of see, we have Robin Williams. If you go back earlier, it was Harlan Williams,
Right.
who decided to do a joke that he'd ask the audience a question, and since nobody answered, I answered. And then he started coming down on me, and then not realizing that I'm not just a sound guy behind the soundboard, but also I'm used to having people telling me where to go when they're on stage, whenever I give them the red light. And so he started doing a bit about Star Trek. And of course, if you know me at all, I'm playing the sound from the bridge of the Starship Enterprise in the in the background, and he saw it, and he just went with it because he knew that I probably had 3 or 4 more, which I did, ready and willing and able to go.
See, that for me, For those who don't know who Harlan Williams is, he had a 5-pitcher deal there, and I don't think has he come back to.
He's been doing things.
No, has he come back to Canada to?
I haven't seen him.
No, he's in L.A. right? He's a successul human
He
being.
comes back for Just for Laughs. I know that.
Oh yeah. So Just for Last for Your World is still a Canadian brand.
What's that?
When you say Just for Laughs, you think you're promoting Canadian brand. When you use the word Just for Laughs.
Well, no, it was in Montreal, so.
Well, it is in Montreal. Technically, Montreal is in. Well, Montreal is technically in Quebec.
and still in this country.
Well,
Much to the chagrin of the Quebecers.
I don't know how to shit grin, but sorry, kids, that's chagrin. And at that point, I don't know how to pull that off. Since have you seen the letterhead for this country? It's red and blue. It says Canada and Quebec. That's the letterhead that we send to the United States of America when we say anything about anything. And then he reads the paper. I'd like to thank Canada and Quebec. So I think we are Canada and Quebec. We're lying to ourselves because it's on paper. It seems that we're advertising ourselves. Perception is more important than
cares. I don't think anybody cares.
Nobody cares.
Most of us were wishing they would have separated.
No way. We couldn't have handled the truth. We couldn't have, and they couldn't have handled the truth. It would have been terrible for everybody. Did you know? I think
they would have went down the toilet, and we got them back for half price.
Oh wow! 80% of the walking army is French and French speaking. 100% of the generals are French. If there's a war, I don't think you know who's protecting you, because we don't have guns. And if you have one, get rid of it, because you're not allowed to have a gun. No, am I wrong? I'm not trying to be political. I'm just trying to be.
Mine are virtual.
That's kind of important. It's kind of important. Oh man, there's a lot of people that came out and supported this club, and now it has now a stage. Before there used to be a riser that had to be brought to the front.
4-piece riser.
4-piece.
4 foot by 4 foot.
Yeah.
Square.
Yeah.
And 12 inches.
From the basement, and the
or
speakers,
the backyard.
Well, if you were lucky at the time. But then the speakers had to be put on pedestals that were at the left and the right of the stage.
A table on top of a table.
Yeah.
And then a speaker.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in my day.
Yeah, well, it's because the post broke. You're not going to replace that. That's money.
I didn't see a post.
Yeah, there was a post at the beginning.
I never heard about it.
Yeah, heard about it.
There was no pieces.
There were no pieces. There was no scrap.
I could have fixed that.
People didn't know Squirrel was coming. They didn't know Squirrel was coming. And you still never know when Squirrel is coming. You're like a ninja squirrel. You never know when it's going to happen. You just kind of sneak into such. Now you got the... well, specifically, I always want to keep it talking about the location and what happened in the location. And one thing we already talked about, which I liked your definition better than mine, was where I met Pete Zedlacker here. This is and I met Pete Zedlacker actually as a friend of Joanna Downey's. I believe that's actually how he was introduced to me. I have a friend? Can you go on stage? I think that's kind of how I remember Pete Zedlacker. And then, 7 years later, 8 years later, he was dominating a character, an idea. Like I don't actually know him all that well off stage anymore, but on stage, his persona of being...
I don't think he does either.
I don't know, but he seems to have a very rock and roll persona. Like it's the closest thing I could have to a guy who's trying to be a rock star. I went out of my way and got his DVDs. I don't think I own anybody else's comedy DVDs, but I have Pete Zedlacker's. He's the only person I've ever seen at the Laugh Resort. We're not going to talk about that too much longer.
No.
Bad scene. It's a bad scene, right, kids? So, what's going on? Oh, big city, little. Okay, things are bigger than they were, but the scene has still changed a little bit. There's still an open mic variety of places that you can go support live stand up yourself, to go out and do live stand up, and again be a part of a community that if you make it, you make it. Even with the little pond has its critters that rise to the top, and then you go to a bigger pond and you rise to the top, and this is kind of the idea. It's coming into your own. People like John Wing Jr. gave me all of the feeling of it doesn't happen overnight. You are a 15-year overnight success in this business. I love John Wing Jr. I don't even think he's John Wing Jr. anymore. I think he dropped the junior. I think he's just John Wing. You don't know.
I don't watch TV comedy.
TV comedy? He's not a TV comedian.
Isn't he?
John Wing Jr.? John Wing?
Yeah.
Why would you call him a TV comedian?
Because I've seen him on TV.
'Cause
and
you've seen him.
I don't see him in person.
Right. But he does live
If
shows.
I don't see you in... Yeah, but I don't see him.
He does cruise ships, and you don't do cruise ships. But you know he does cruise ships. Like, that's part of his gig.
No.
No. Because cruise ships, that's somewhere I would love to be. Wouldn't you love to? But the problem is 3 to 6 months away from your family. That's the gig. You have to be able to do 3 to 6 months in a sitting.
Well, my kids are off doing their own thing, so...
Oh, yeah?
University and all that.
Well, then you got 3 to 6 months if you're going to pull it off. I just don't have... I do later on in life. I don't now. And I didn't then either. But when I finally got myself the gig, you're like, oh, that's 6 months. How do you... You know, it's like a contract for anything else. It's a job. I'm gonna
Unless
go work
you can bring them with you.
your children
Yeah,
on a cruise ship.
sure.
Okay, all right, I'll play.
People do that.
No, people do bring their kids on a cruise ship. It's no longer a vacation. It's
at
now
least-
a family trip. It's no longer a vacation.
Oh, it still can be. I don't know. I watch the Love Boat just like anybody else.
No, I love Love Boat. Don't remember children. Don't remember children.
There were.
No, it was
There
only-
were.
No, it was like that little city in Chitty
There
Chitty Bang
were.
Bang. There
There
was no
were.
children.
Always the love stories, but there was always children
Where's your
kicking
child? I don't
around.
remember children running
Yeah.
around.
I think so.
No, I don't have children. It's very Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah, kind of like this place here. Kind of reminds me of Tel Aviv. You ever been to the Middle East?
No.
Yeah, there's no children there either. There's no children in this town. You can walk this way, walk that way. There's no children on the streets. There's
In
no
this
children
area?
In this area. It's like Tel Aviv. It's weird. It kind of reminds you, in Tel Aviv, girls are walking with girls, boys are walking with boys, holding hands. Not because of anything's going on. It's just because it's
You
Tel
just
Aviv.
got to walk over to Young Street.
Yeah. What do you think Young Street's going to... We got kids?
They do.
They got kids
They
on
do.
Young Street?
There's kids on Young Street, and I think it's actually a little bit sad. Because
Oh, you're talking about street
because of-
kids?
no.
Oh, okay, because like, why are you getting sad on me here?
No. I think it's bad that they're only because of some of the things that are on Young Street. Well, one in particular that comes to mind is the brass rail.
Oh, I like me some brass rail. How would you
Yeah, but
explain that
there's,
to
like,
a 9-year-old?
3-story tall naked woman. Well, almost naked woman. You know,
She's almost
you
naked.
can't miss that.
You can't miss the almost naked woman.
You can't miss the.
Yeah, but
the
you
gigantic.
don't, but you don't need that on the street because you got the 4 or 5 shops that are adult shops, having toys for adults who are shopping.
Mhm.
Yes, adult toy shops, and they're also in the window. They're in the window. There's no.
Not as
mean
much.
not
Not
as-
as noticeable as a 6-story tall.
You-
Sorry, it's getting taller.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's
Okay. You're a fisherman.
3 stories. It's at least 3-story tall, and the ass is probably, 10 feet wide.
It's a 10 feet wide bottom. That's a bottom.
A
Okay.
shapely one, though.
A shapely bottom. When I'm walking when I'm walking on the Young Street in Toronto, I'm not looking up. I'm not.
That's what kids do.
Kids
They're
are
not
kids-
depressed. They're not looking at their shoes.
No, I'm not depressed.
So they're either looking at their shoes or they're looking up.
Yeah.
Unless there's candy in the front of the store, they're not looking.
Unless there's candy, they're not looking.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Or nudity.
Right. Well,
Because they think it's funny.
I have walked downtown with my kids, but we were in the downtown.
We always
core.
cross the street, and I always got them looking at something else.
Right. But your kids in university, aren't they allowed to look now at the 10-foot wide bottom?
Well, now, yeah, but I'm talking about when they were younger.
So that bottom's been there for a while.
It's maybe changed over the years.
I haven't seen it. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you're calling me depressed and looking at my shoes. I'm looking in the windows at the adult toys. Like, I'm just looking in. I'm not looking up. I don't think... when I was in Israel, I don't know why I'm going back to this for you, because maybe it's because
either.
of the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, no kids outside. I asked the people in the audience if they noticed the bats in Tel Aviv. They're 6-foot wingspan brown fruit-eating bats, and they come down and they swoop, and they're making sounds in the sky. And I asked the room, like 700 people, hey, ever seen the bats?
So they're gay?
The gay bats?
Yeah. They're fruit eating.
They're fruit eating.
Making that weird sound
Wow.
that you just made.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know, but I think 10% of every.
Because if you go down the street here, there are fruit-eating bats.
There are fruiting. I don't know if they're bats. I don't know if they're bats.
Well, they're at the very least vampires. And they want more than just blood. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why that happened.
Because we're just north of the village.
Right. No, I was sweeping over to another story pertaining to the people in Israel and the bats because they don't look up. They don't look up, and I asked them why the people from Israel don't look up, and the answer was the guy who runs the comedy club there. It's called the Camel Comedy Club. There's 2 locations, one in Jaffa, and that's where everyone always takes over, Jaffa, and the other one's in Jerusalem. The guy had 2 comedy clubs, the Camel Comedy Club. And people didn't notice bats? These things are huge. It doesn't make any sense. They had to have seen the giraffe flying around downtown Tel Aviv. He goes, no, they don't look up. They never look up. Okay, well, why don't the people of Israel look up? He goes, because there's hardly ever money falling from there. Sometimes you find money here, sometimes you find money here, but you never. He was being serious. Because they don't look up. They don't look up. They clearly don't look up. It's not happening. For us and them. Is that yours? Is that the...
That's the starting indications that I got to start setting up the show.
Oh, this is part of your day, that you have to start doing things for the show. So you actually do some work here.
Yeah, I got to set up, and especially because Cal's not here, I have to do all the curtains and...
So you're closing up the curtains at the front, getting ready for the big show.
Put the backdrop.
The backdrop is the scroll that's there? Is it the movie screen there?
No.
No, it's an actual thing that you have to set up at the back.
Yeah, they haven't brought it up yet. But
right. They bring it up for you and you set it up.
The comedy stool, a couple mic stands.
Right. You need some help from your friendly neighborhood Jewish person?
Yeah.
Yeah? You broken enough that you need me? Okay, you'll take my help.
Yes.
You'll take some help. We'll go. Well, that's great. Well, this isn't the last time we're going to chit-chat here at the Spirits Bar and Grill. This is just our first opportunity to do so, because I've been reaching out to Cal Post for the last 3 months, I think, to do exactly this, just to let people know that this place exists, and it still exists, and it's a great place to get your laugh on, and it's also a great place where people who are in the industry, if you want to chit-chat with someone who's been here forever and for always, Earl's there. And at the back of the club, because it is the back of the club, you have the people who've been in the business for the last 20 to 50 years. And I see them here. They're here all the time. You want to support...
Even if they're not doing stage time?
No. I would actually say most of the comedians I'm hanging out with here are not on the stage. They're just here because this is where you come on Wednesday night when you're trying to be in the know of comedy. So again, I'd like to thank Earl the Squirrel for giving his time, to allowing me to be here. Without Earl, I wasn't allowed to sit down even, because this place is not a club unless you have somebody who's a part of the club making it actually true and happening for you. So I had to wait for Earl. I was here waiting for you for 15 minutes. He goes, don't set up until Earl gets here, because Earl, I don't want nothing getting screwed up. You wait for Earl.
That's right.
I'll wait for Earl.
That's right.
All I wanted to use...
Because I've rewired this place 6 times.
Oh, is that why? That's funny.
They have no idea what's going on.
Because all I wanted to do was put one plug into the wall.
Yeah, but...
That was it.
And that'll only work if the outlet's working.
Well, it is working.
It can be shut off.
Power. I have full power.
Right.
I got full power.
You got lucky.
I got good times, great taste, and again, thank you for spending your time here. I hope to talk to other comedians and other performers that are here. Please come out and...
There's still probably another 2/3 of this conversation we haven't had yet.
No, we just started, and that's the best part of it. Well, thank you very much. Again, my name's Adam Powell, live from my bedroom on location. Thank you, Earl. We'll see you again.
All right.